He's waiting on me, so let's click this. Welcome to the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast. We are here to podcast about anything and everything Star Wars with you. Please visit our website where you can play current and past episodes. That's https://RABR KyleJohansson.us. That's RABR KyleJohansson.us. On the left-hand side is a navigation menu. You can use this to learn how to load the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast on your Android or Apple phone and tablet. And we have direct links to our podcast on Apple and Google Podcasts. Please participate by connecting to our social media, answering questions of the week, or submitting feedback directly from the site. Again, all of these are available at the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room website at rabr.KyleJohansson.us. And now it's time to talk Star Wars.
Oh, it's Star Wars time.
I hope John Johansson, and this is Andrew Scott Sutton. Say hello.
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 Yeah, we need some feedback from people. All right, so today we're reviewing the Bad Batch episode 10, which is called Common Ground, and episode 11, it's Devil's something. What is it? Devil's Deal. That's it. All right, so we're reviewing those today. We'll go through some Star Wars news also and do some discussion and talk about the questions of the week also. So let's just get started with the news, huh? It's time for the news. All right. So the first one I've got is the one I sent you early on in the week about this Troy Kotsur. He's the one who he's the one who invented the Tusken sign language.
He just won an Oscar for that.
Exactly. He's actually deaf, so he uses sign language all the time. So he basically, like I said, he invented the sign language that we saw in the Book of Boba Fett. I think actually he had something to do with some of the other movies too, but we don't see him in most of those. And so he won this Oscar for a different role, a different thing. It was Story
Macklin was in it.
It was a movie, Coda. That was it. It was Coda's that he won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor Oscar. I just wanted to kind of celebrate that, kind of get people's minds away from some face slapping thing that happened.
We're going to talk about that.
Focus on Star Wars. So that was brought to us by StarWarsNews.net or .net.com. Weird kind of name. The next news thing we've got is I included this because I thought it was funny, but it's actually something that happens in the Legends materials and stuff. It's about Disney announced that they're going to do a show about Luke Skywalker's hand that got cut off. And there's very little details in here, but it talks about, and this, I wanted to preface everything we're talking about is not anything to do with April Fools. These are all supposedly real. So it says that.
So hold on. Didn't Luke Skywalker's hand fall down the shaft?
It did, and so did his lightsaber, because he was holding on to the lightsaber that the hand got cut off. So, what the Legends rumor is it tumbled down the sewers, like you said, at the Cloud City, with Lando Calrissian's place. Tumbled down the shaft, but it was recovered by somebody and then sold, of course. And apparently the emperor is the one who was behind the purchase of it. And the idea, the idea in the legends is that we know that before the New Hope movie, which is the first one that came out, there was these Clone Wars, right? And we watched all the movies and the animated series and stuff. And these clones came from those Camoans, and they, once the Empire and the Sith came back out into the public, they took over the cloning operations and actually forced the Camoans to do work for them. One of the legends rumors is that Admiral Thrawn was part of the group that used Luke's hand to clone Luke Skywalker into a what they called Luke with two U's was his name in Legends.
I thought it was two L's.
No, it's two U's. It might have it's two U's, yeah. Okay. So that's maybe what it's going to be about. We don't really know.
That's
kind
of
only thing we can go off of is what material we have.
I think I read that whole article and it was like, huh?
Yeah, and I sent you a link to something in the Wikipedia too about it.
Yeah,
where they talked about his hand being cloned and stuff. There's very little details in the article because they just they don't want to tell the ideas or anything. But apparently they've talked to Mark Hamill to do some capture scenes and stuff like that and whatever. Obviously they need his permission and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's my hand, damn it.
My hand.
My lightsaber.
And it's apparently going to be some sort of series, costing all kinds of money to film every episode. And like I said, this thing came out a week or so before April Fool's. So I don't think it's a joke or anything. It could be, but like I said, we do know that in Legends this is actually something that happened. So that's kind of what makes it credible. The next, and that one was brought to us from hard-drive.net. The next news article I found is something that everybody has probably heard about already, but we're going to talk about it anyway, where the Obi-Wan Kenobi premiere date was pushed back 2 days to the 27th of May, and they're going to bring us 2 episodes on that day. So we're going to get the first 2 episodes of the show, meaning there will only be 4 or 5 episodes after that left. It's a very short run show, so there's not going to be a lot. And here's let me play this video so you can hear the audio of about the announcement here.
Hello, Star Wars fans. Thank you for all your incredible support and response to Obi-Wan Kenobi. I have some important news. Our premiere date is moving just a couple of days from Wednesday to Friday, May the 27th. But here's the exciting part. The first 2 episodes will premiere together. So make sure you tune in to both episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi, streaming Friday, May the 27th, exclusively on Disney+.
Is that from Obi-Wan himself?
It was. That was Ewan McGregor himself. So, at the end they had that Disney logo with the lightsaber going through it to the plus. Anyway, yeah. So that video I confirmed was on Disney Plus's Twitter. It was on Ewan McGregor's Twitter. Actually, he released it first, and then Disney put it on their site, and it's on Disney's website. So and it's posted on the official Star Wars. No, well, Sort of. So some of the reasons were that they want to compete with other releases that are coming out that weekend. So that 27th puts it on a weekend. And Stranger Things is coming out on Peacock. What is it? It says it in here somewhere. Maybe it doesn't, but there's like 3 or 4 shows on different places. Like Netflix has got something coming out that they made too. And
I'm sure it's like Yellowstone or something, some shit like
yeah. I don't think there's gonna be Yellowstone yet. Yeah, Stranger Things. Stranger Things. What else? That's all it shows, but it talks. I don't know if we've ever mentioned it on here, but Deborah Cho is the one that's the head director for the Obi-Wan Kenobi show.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah. So that's interesting news. It's exciting because they're going to delay it. They're going to give us 2 episodes instead of 1, which I like. But which I think means they can cram more in.
It's my day off.
That's good. Yeah.
So I'll come over to your house, watch it.
We could. And I don't know if we could film us watching it, but we could do a live action maybe. Maybe I could play it on my computer so we can hear the sound and stuff from the computer too. But yeah, we could try something like that. That'd be interesting.
Boy, I'll be out of school by then.
Sweet. So that's the news. Let me close the news bin. Yeah, and then we got our commercial.
And now, a word from our sponsors. Does your bald head take a beating from shaving, the sun, and all other things Mother Nature throws your way? Do ladies look at your dry, sunburnt head and cringe? Well, guys, there's a new product out there in the head care market that promises to rock your head. I mean dome. Looks soft, clean, and touchable, and it's trending #1 through social media and on YouTube. Introducing Dome Armor. It conditions with moisturizers like coconut oil and shea butter, protects with sunscreen up to SPF 45, and enhances your already sexy dome into an irresistible hands-on experience. Keep your dome safe and protected. Get Dome Armor, now available in fresh bacon scent. Sure to get the ladies to come running in fine stores like Walmart and Lowe's. Oh, and for those still struggling with minor hair loss, try Grow Gain. This product will refresh, revitalize, and regrow hair on your dome.
Yeah, so that's it. And I wanted to Wookiee? Wookiee. I wanted to give a sneak peek of the future sponsor we might have.
Come on down to Pelly's Mod and Repair Shop.
Yeah, so that's coming next week. And like Scott said, we might have something to do with a Wookiee sometime too. I think the makers of Dome Armor might have a new product coming out soon. So
that would be so exciting.
It would. Let's do this. So then we can start talking.
Spoiler alert. Danger. You are about to be spoiled. This is your spoiler alert. We're about to talk candidly and explicitly about some TV shows or movies. If you have not watched them, please fast forward to the appropriate section. You will not be warned again because you will be spoiled.
Spoiled. All right. Yep. That alarm is recorded specially directly from Scott's workplace. Just kidding. All right, so we're getting into the Bad Batch Season 1, Episode 10, Common Ground. And the first scene is called Curfew on Raxus. And And this is it says the Galactic Empire has reoccupied Raxus, the former capital of the Confederate of Independent Systems. Captain Bragg is the Imperial officer overseeing everything, and address that's the female captain, I think, that you were talking about before. She addresses the crowd in the capital city of Raxulon. She states the Empire is not the enemy and will treat all former Confederacy planets fairly in exchange for loyalty. And then we see the former Senator Avijit Singh come up to give a speech to kind of, back that up. This guy also has a droid, protocol droid GS8 is what it's called. And, he says basically his only option is to comply. And then Captain Bragg talks about a mandatory curfew that's going into effect that was approved by Senator Singh. Of course, the crowd does not like that. Singh implores his fellow citizens to embrace the new laws because once again, Raxus will flourish and become prosperous. The public declares they can no longer condone the occupation of Raxus, going away from script and saying that he disagrees. The crowd is outraged, and Captain Bragg arrests Singh, and you see a bunch of those Walker AT walkers come in and to control the crowd. And of course, our droid GS8 escapes and contacts someone, which at the time we don't know who the droid's contacting, but contacts someone saying that they need help. And that ends up being Sid that they're contacting. And they require assistance. We then flash to Ord Mantell at where Omega and Wrecker are enjoying some Mantell mix, just like Scott was just a minute ago. A little Mantell mix.
Yeah. Okay.
And they ask about their next mission. And Tech reminds them that they're being tailed by 2 different bounty hunters, and they need to keep a low profile. Hunter agrees to that and kind of says, they need to stick low and not do very much. And then they walk into the Sid's parlor or bar, whatever you want to call it. And that's when Sid assigns them the mission to extract Singh from Raxus. Hunter objects to the assignment because he doesn't want to work for separatists. He's against separatists. But Sid reminds him about the debt they need to pay, even for the Mantell mix that Wrecker was eating. And Hunter doesn't want to take Omega. He says it's too dangerous, and she must stay behind. And this is where Sid offers to take care of Omega while the Bad Batch are gone. So Hunter reluctantly agrees to leave Omega with Sid. He doesn't really trust Sid, but we get Omega arguing a little bit, saying she's part of the squad and she needs to come along. But he says that Sid's going to take care of her and to stick close to Sid. And this is where we see Omega getting janitorial duties assigned to her. She's scrubbing the counter or whatever.
That's not a very good term that should be used.
Yeah, exactly.
Custodial engineer.
Custodial engineers. I'm sorry. Yeah. So the next scene, we see the Marauder landing on Raxus. And Wrecker replies that they've never been to Raxus before. Tech replies that the coordinates that Sid gave him they land outside of the capital city of Raxalon.
Door open.
And yeah, the door opens and Echo is kind of voicing his he doesn't like the idea about helping separatists either, which this senator is.
And the droid pops out.
Yeah, the droid pops out from behind a tree or something like that, doesn't it? Yeah,
We've
they're
never
flying.
worked for a droid.
Yep, that's true. After embarking, Tech says that their code worked and that the client being a separatist is irrelevant. Echo and Hunter disagree, but forget politics as they need the job and need the money. And like you said, GS8 pops out and tells them that its master, which we assume from the voice it's a female droid, which I don't know if you can consider the droids male or female or not, but it says the master Singh was arrested for speaking out against the occupation.
He says, I'm your employer.
Yeah, I'm your employer. Where's our employer? I'm your employer. And so Hunter says they don't care. They just want to get the job done. And GS8 leads the squad. And then we flash back to Ord Mantle, where Sid is babysitting Omega. And this is the scene we see where Omega is cleaning the countertop and just kind of sitting there spacing off and not pouting. Yeah, pouting. That's a good description. And Sid asks what's wrong, and Omega is upset that she hasn't heard back from the Bad Batch crew, and she wonders if they're okay. And Sid replies that they better be doing all right because she's paying them a lot of money to do this job. And we talk about
this at the same time she kind of gives her a lecture.
Yeah, she's talking about how it's unfair.
Because Omega goes, well, this isn't fair. It's not fair at
Exactly.
all. Sid goes,
Exactly.
oh, life's not fair, kid. Speak up.
That's right. You're exactly right.
Really?
What's that time of day? Then we see the two guys who usually hang out, Bolo and Ketch. I'm talking at the table.
Yeah. The freaky dude.
Yeah. Omega tells Sid that she's not helpless. And Sid talks about how she made a promise to Hunter to keep an eye on her and ensure she's safe. All right. So then
Maggie.
And Omega basically asks how much they're making, and Sid kind of replies that whatever they're making is not enough to pay off the debt still. And that's when we see we flash up back to Raxalon and see our team. There's an AT marching through the streets, a big walker.
Yeah.
Clone troopers are standing guard around the residence of this Singh guy. And they get their binoculars out to check it out and see where all the heat signatures are and such. And it looks like there's 4 and they're under subterranean level. GS8 they accuse GS8 of leading them into a trap because there's so many guards around and stuff. And then Hunter says that they need to take out the surveillance system. Hunter sends GS8 out as a distraction so they can capture the clone troopers they're guarding. GS8 opens up a gate.
Throw a grenade between their legs.
Not yet. Not there yet. Yeah.
I like that.
They do that to get rid of some of the guards, I think, here during this scene, it looks like. And it looks like GS8 opens up a grill grate door, and the clones enter the compound. Because, of course, the droid's got a key. Hunter sends Wrecker and Echo off to search and clear the upper levels while Tech and him clear the main floor. Hunter tells the GS8 droid to follow him. Here's where they stun the troopers and stuff with little bomb things, and this is where we get a thing where Hunter's calling out orders, and he actually says Omega's name, and she's not there, and everybody Tech says, well, that would be impossible because Omega's not here. GS8 decides to distract the guards.
Deeper in Hunter's heart.
Yeah, a little deeper. Hunter stuns him with a grenade, like you were talking about. That's the scene right there. He throws it between the droid's legs.
I think he actually had a facial change when that happened. What?
Well, that's when the explosion causes enough commotion that it knocks over that vase.
Yeah.
And the droid saves the vase, saying that it was a very, very rare, priceless relic or whatever. Of course, Hunter grumbles. He doesn't really care. Who cares about the stupid vase? And then we flash back to the bar on Ord Mantle. And Bolo and Ketch are playing a game of dejarik. Dejarik, which is some sort of strategy game, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, it looks like chess, doesn't it? And I'm pretty sure it's not the same game.
I could never win.
You sure it's because I thought that was actually chess? Because it looked like little different pieces. But anyway, it could be. There was little animation stuff going on with the pieces and stuff. And this is where we get Omega giving Sid advice, and for some reason, every time Omega gives advice, Sid wins that move or whatever. And so on and so on, and she finally gets Sid wins a game, and this is when Sid asks what they should do next to keep Omega occupied, I guess. And so on and so on. They bet and she wins. She plays another game with someone else. And this is where they strike a deal that Omega's going to play some tournament games to make some money. And Sid first offers to give her 30% of the winnings. Exactly. Sid offers 30% of the hand, but Omega proposes 60%. And we kind of assumed that she takes the offer for 60%. And then we, of course, flash back to Raxus. And we see Captain Bragg and some troopers bring in someone to interrogation. And this is where interrogation isn't going well, so Bragg charges Singh with defying imperial law. Then she tells the senator that the Singh refuses to be the imperial puppet for his city, and he's not going to be loyal to the empire. And like I said, this is where we get Bragg dismissing Singh back to a jail cell. There we see a smoke grenade fly in the room, and the soldiers are stunned. And then Hunter and Tech enter the room with GS8, who tells her master, Singh, that she has followed the orders to the letter that Singh gave him. Singh is grateful, and then this is where we see GS8 say that he or she saved his most valued prized vase.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Hunter asks how they can get out.
Through the catacombs. But
Yeah,
no,
that's-
but they went to the roof.
I think they did that first. Tech warns them about the alert being triggered because of the, attacking the Imperial troopers and Bragg and all that. And we see Tech turn off the surveillance system and realizes their position's been compromised, so they need to move right away. This is where, like you said, they're on a balcony area, and they see another walker approach, and Hunter proposes they steal the walker and blow a hole in the wall so they can get out of the complex that they're in. And clones are jumping on the walker. This is our clones. Our clones jump on top of the walker with cables and stun the crew.
Cable.
Yeah, they slide down a cable, stun the crew, and throw a stun grenade inside. And then we see Wrecker and Echo with Singh and GS8. After they've taken over, they climb in the side hatch or whatever and throw the crew out. And then we see a scene where Captain Bragg has realized that the Bad Batch team has a walker and orders that all forces attack that particular walker. And so we see a bunch of them coming up behind him and chasing him through the city, and one of them they take a direct hit to an axle stabilizer is what they call it, and Tech says that he has to recalibrate the system manually to get it back online. So they end up having to have a little battle out there first. It's a stun grenade. Let's see. And a third walker arrives that's chasing them. And when they're ordered to surrender, we see GS8 come in with all the fighting that they're doing. He knocks out at least one person with the vase and breaks the vase into pieces. And that allows Tech and the crew to stun the rest of the attackers.
He says, I really never liked that.
Yes, the Singh says he really never liked that vase anyway. And just as they escape, all the attackers, the repairs are complete on the walker, and they begin to move again. And Singh gives them directions to go, and it's down an alleyway that is basically a
One way in, no way out.
one way in, one way out. So they're going to be trapped. And Singh says to trust him. They're all skeptical, but they do it anyway. They head down there, and Singh tells them to move into position near the wall and
the walker sideways.
turn it sideways. And he says something about, do they have bombs or something, so they can blow a hole in the wall, because there's a subterranean tunnel that's right there. So they open up the door and put the bombs up.
Record goes, well, of course.
Yeah, of course we do, yeah. They put the bombs up there and then close the door back up to protect them from the blast. And then they all jump out of the walker and go underground. And this is the scene where we see all the other walkers that are chasing them come up behind them, and they just kind of blast that thing and blow it up to pieces. And they realize that, hey, there's nobody aboard.
Because they didn't see the hole, because Wrecker blew up that part so that the hole would be covered with rubble.
Yeah, exactly. And our crew escapes. Singh, GS8, and the Bad Batch find their way back to the Marauder in the forest. Before boarding, Singh asks GS8 what he's doing. He doesn't want to abandon his people. And GS8 convinces him that he will help them, but he can't help them in custody, Imperial custody. And this is where we hear Echo say that he agrees that he will live to fight another day. And they depart they all climb aboard the Marauder and fly into space off of Raxus. And this is where we come to back to Ord Mantell, and the Bad Batch is walking through the town into the area where the bar is at, where Sid's place is at, and they see a bunch of speeders and cars parked out there, whatever you want to call them, speeders and stuff.
Packed out.
Yeah, it's packed, and they go inside and they find several people are watching or cheering on a game, including Gotal, Bolo, Ketch, and others playing dejarik with Omega against a Pantaloran. This is one of the guys, remember, in Boba Fett, the guys who rode the bikes that destroyed that camp and stuff like that, rode on the walls of that one building.
Yeah,
it's one of those type of guys. The Pantaloran Canteen or Kintan Strider, and we see them play the game a little bit there, and we see how this guy knocks out one of Omega's players, but Omega comes back and takes the game with her move. The crowd cheers, and Omega spots the Bad Batch and runs over to Wrecker. And Wrecker asks, "Where did you learn to do that?" And Sid tells them that she's a natural strategist, which, that's another thing that we learn about her. She obviously has some of the stuff ingrained in her that the other clones have. And Hunter is upset because he's like, this is the opposite of keeping a low profile. But Sid tells him to cheer up, that Omega made enough money to help pay off the entire debt that they owed Sid.
Didn't she even make them some money?
Yes, she did. She made more money, and Sid gives him praise on getting Senator Singh, and she turns her focus to the senator. And Hunter asks Omega if she paid off the debt, and Omega says she wanted to be useful even though she couldn't go on the mission. And this is the scene where Hunter says if she's interested in putting her skills to the test, he proposes one more match, and if she wins, she doesn't have to sit out on any more missions. And Omega accepts the challenge, and we see the last scene where they're playing, and they fade to black.
So no one knows.
No one knows. Yeah, and that's actually my question. One of my questions of the week: did Omega beat Hunter at dejarik? I don't know. I mean, we kind of actually assume that going forward, because I think in every episode going forward, she's with the crew the whole time. I don't think there's a spot where she sits out at all.
No, because they're done with Sid.
Well, you think so?
I don't think they go back.
Doesn't the last?
That's the next time they go back. That's the next time they go back. The other dude that was selling spice, the pikes in that office, or was that?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think so. Spoiler alert for the next episode, but in the next episode, we actually see our crew delivering weapons, right?
Yeah.
And they said that they tell the guy if he needs more than they brought, that they can contact Sid to get more. Yeah. So I think they're still working for her, but they're doing it to keep busy more than likely, I bet. So
they're doing it to make money.
Make more money. You think so? But yeah, I think that probably Omega is probably good enough that she beat him in the game. We know that Hunter is usually the one that dictates how they do things, because he's that's one of his special talents is he can track, but he can also strategize better than the others. So with that,
we are proud to welcome our latest sponsor, Juan's Cantina, where every first week of the month on the standard galactic calendar, we celebrate what the ancients call Cinco de Mayo. Come join us at Juan's for the food, mariachi music, and 34 flavors of margaritas. That's Juan's Cantina right next to the Hangar 94 of Mos Eisley Spaceport. On day 2 of the week is Taco Tuesday. All tacos are half a credit each, and enjoyed with our house margaritas. Juan's Cantina also serves the galactically famous Dos Camarones Azul Cerveza, imported directly from Kessel. Thank you again for our latest sponsor, Juan's Cantina.
Yeah, and I was just reading during the that commercial there that several other places are reporting that that Disney and the Star Wars group, Lucasfilms, all of them have confirmed that the date of the 27th is what Obi-Wan Kenobi is going to release.
The Obi-Wan Kenobi Cafe.
Yeah.
Right?
What?
The Obi-Wan Kenobi Cafe.
No, that's the museum.
Oh, okay.
Rancho Kenobi, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, so our next episode of season 1 that we're reviewing is episode 11, called Devil's Deal. And this is one that I kind of liked a lot when I first saw it, because it brings in a character that's young, a version of the character that we see in Rebels, Star Wars Rebels. And so it starts off, the scene is peace on Ryloth. And we see in Lesu, which is the capital of Ryloth, crowds are awaiting, and we see Crosshair observing the crowd as a guard of some sort. There's freedom fighters arriving, and Crosshair reports this to Vice Admiral Rampart. The crowd's asking where the Senator Orden Freeta is. And Admiral Rampart conveys that the Galactic Empire's displeasure that they are troubled by the Empire's presence, despite the refinery bringing more jobs to the citizens. And then Senator Orton Freeta claims that they welcome the partnership, and asks Eleni Sedula if she agrees. Eleni replies that she will support whatever helps Ryloth. And then the senator turns his attention to General Cham Sundula, asking if he shares what his wife just claimed. And Cham says he just wants peace, so they don't have to fight anymore. And this is where Senator Ta says peace comes with prosperity and a new era for Ryloth.
Yeah, I don't like that senator.
I don't either. That's the big one. What is he, like blue or something? I can't remember what.
Yeah,
Green or blue or something. Big flabby one.
Mhm.
And then we see clone Captain Hauser asking General Sundula if he's all right. And Cham says that he should be relieved that the war's over, but admits that the change isn't easy, and he hopes that the people will embrace peace. Captain Hauser reassures him that Ryloth is safe, and this is what he fought for. And then we see that senator you don't like addressing the crowd some more, saying that the new refinery will bring stability and growth to Ryloth again, and urges the citizens to step down from their military post and enjoy hard-fought freedom. And the crowd begins to grumble a little bit. And Ta explains that the Empire has offered the clone army to protect and defend them. And this is when someone in the crowd shouts that they want General Sindula
See him.
to see him. And this is where he comes up and begins to address the crowd, saying that he understands their uneasiness, and they need to stand together to defend Ryloth. Something about the Clone Wars, and the Grand Army of the Republic came to their aid in their hour of need. We see Hauser move in to stand next to Cham, and he emphasizes that they fought for them, and he trusts the clones as he always has. He urges them to lay down their weapons and focus on the future of Ryloth. The crowd cheers and begins to disperse, and Senator Ta walks away. Admiral Rampart speaks with Laney and says that it's a shame that her daughter was not there to share in this. And Eleni explains that her daughter has other interests. And that's when we switch to a scene where we see Hera Syndulla and her astromech droid Chopper spying on the Imperial refinery. And they're in an off-limits area. And she says something about how her father sent her out there. And her uncle Gobi told her they have to stay and gather intelligence. She starts to watch the birds and daydream, lying on the ground. And then all of a sudden, two clone troopers promptly appear and basically arrest her.
Yep. She wants to fly.
She wants to fly.
She
She wants to fly a ship called the Ghost. Looking at we have another scene where they're back at the palace or whatever, and this Gobi is basically Eleni's brother, and they're arguing about what just happened with Senator Ta. And Gobi disagrees that he doesn't want to turn over his weapons and be defenseless. And he has a contact that he's reached out to get more weapons.
Who could that be? Who could that be?
Who could that be? We'll find out soon, won't we? And that's when Captain Hauser comes in with Hera and Chopper and says that they were captured and found in a restricted zone. Hera basically claims that she was just exploring.
Restricted zone.
Yeah, and Hauser kind of explains how he's in a tough spot. Trying to protect him and, enforce what the Empire wants to enforce.
Man, we're in a tough spot, boys.
And this is where, Cham says that he assures that it won't happen again. That Hera won't do that again. And after the troopers leave, this is when Cham asks Hera what she was doing. And Hera basically tells her that, the same story that she told where she didn't know she was out there. She was exploring. Gobi explains that he sent her. And he sends Eleni sends Hera and Chopper inside while Gobi and Cham talk. They're still doing a little bit of arguing and whatever. And this is where we get where Hera thinks things aren't fair too. She and Chopper did nothing wrong. And her mom comes in and reminds her that the refinery is off limits, and this is where she asks her what her daughter saw and not to leave anything out. And then we see Cham and Gobi arguing still about involving Hera in espionage.
Aren't they the mom and dad, didn't they go on a tour of the site and notice the gun towers, and she said it looked more like a military site?
Yeah, that's
a refinery.
They do, and that comes later in the episode, but that does happen. They notice things that they didn't think were true. Basically, that the Empire is actually, doing more than refining stuff there. But the first thing we see is a new scene that's called Building an Arsenal. And we see Gobi and Serini prepare to leave for a supply run on a freighter. And this is where we see that Hera is not able to go. And her father doesn't want her to do any more spying. But Gobi mentions that she can fly. She can do some flying if she goes. So Hera decides that she's going to leave, and Chopper stays behind to cover. And we see that Crosshair has been watching them.
Yeah.
And says that there's a homing beacon on their ship. So the ship that Gobi has got a thing on it. He tells his superiors over a comlink that the ship has been tagged and that he is not and they're not alone. And this is where we see Hera flying the ship into space, demonstrating her amazing flying skills already. Gobi's impressed. So Serene says they need to land on this moon over here. And Hera asks Gobi what kind of supplies they're after. And this is where Gobi tells her that they're picking up weapons. Shortly after they land and get out of the ship, we see the Marauder land, and the Bad Batch comes out. Wrecker's hauling a big crate of something or other.
He was hauling both of them.
Yeah, 2 crates
Poor
maybe.
guys, poor guys are staying workhorse. Does he get more money for that? No.
No, he doesn't.
God.
And this is where Hunter says that Sid sent them, and they brought 3 dozen blasters and a case of thermal detonators.
Thermal detonators. I like.
And we see Hera eyeing the Marauder, saying that that's an interesting kind of ship. She likes the Omicron class attack shuttle, and she sees Omega, who's with them, of course. And Omega asks Hunter if she can take Hera aboard the ship. And she warns Hera that there's no funny business. And then they get on the ship. They get on the ship, and Omega shows her around. Talks about, where things are and what things are. And this is the port where Wrecker does the gunner stuff that she actually sleeps in. And so on and so on.
It's her room when they're not shooting shit.
Yeah. And this is where Hera remarks that she likes the specs, but the flying is the best part about being on a ship.
She says, you live on a starship?
Yeah.
Yes, I do. Thank you very much.
And we hear Hera also say that she one day hopes to be a pilot full time.
Oh, she will. She will.
Yeah, the gunner mount, like I said, doubles as her bedroom. So yeah, they bring her outside. Gobi tells the batch to request more weapons from Sid, and Hunter warns that building an arsenal will attract attention. And Gobi says that he knows what he's getting into. And that's when Gobi says they're leaving. Hera thanks Omega for giving the tour, and Hunter asks Omega if she has made a new friend or not. And of course, Omega says she's kind of strange, but she likes her.
And they said, I'll see you later. Maybe next time I come to your house.
Yeah. And then Omega asks a question about flying and the feeling that you get when you're flying to Tech. And we watch Gobi's ship take off as the Bad Batch climb into their ship. Yeah, and that's the last we see of the Bad Batch. We see them just for this scene here. It's not very long. That's the only time they're in the entire show. And we see Gobi's ship fly through a cannon, trying to be under the radar. And this is when Gobi lets her fly the ship again, but she can't land or take off because she hasn't been shown how to do that yet. But she wants him to show her. And this is where we see, as they're flying through the canyon, Crosshair shoots at the engine and knocks out one of the engines, and the ship crashes. And that's where we see Crosshair order the troops to move in. And a ship or two come in, and a bunch of clones come out. Hera asks what's going on, what should she do, and the troops quickly take him into custody. Shortly after they've been taken to custody, we see Admiral Rampart and Senator Ta arrive also. The big guy you don't like. Crosshair tells them that these were caught smuggling weapons into the planet. And this is where Rampart starts talking to Hera, telling her that he finds her involvement to be distressing. And Senator Ta says Hera is an insurgent and needs to be taken into custody. And Vice Admiral disagrees, and the public will not see it that way. He reminds Ta that Cham has influenced over people throughout Ryloth. And that Cham has not committed a crime at all. It's just Hera. And this is where we see that Hauser says that Hera is an only child.
Yep.
And this is where Senator Ta himself says that they need to take away the three, including Hera. And we see the other troopers comply. And Crosshair informs Rampart that three more insurgent ships are on their way in through the mountain ridge, and asks permission to deal with them.
They're speakers, right?
And this is where Rampart says no and says to allow those insurgents to report back. However, he tells Crosshair to get into position. And we see the insurgents they're talking about looking down with binoculars, and they report back to General Cham Syndulla. And then we see a scene back at the palace or whatever it is, where General is horrified, and Elena, his wife, says that she must speak to Senator Ta right away. And Elena is shocked that Gobi took Hera with him, and that they've been found guilty of treason. And this is where General Syndulla says that Senator Ta will see that they never get a trial. And he decides that they must intercept the convoy before it reaches the capital. And the three of them leave, including Chopper, to intercept the transport. We see a scene where they're on the transport, and some of the insurgents start to fire on it. And they start to attack. We see a couple of the insurgents on those blurgs, those weird rounded animals that we saw in The Mandalorian. And they take out a trooper or two. They knock them off their speeder bikes. Vice Admiral Rampart and Senator Ta receive news that the insurgents are attacking and order the clone troopers to attack back. Hauser complies, and the escort riders are distracted. A redskin Twi'lek, which is all these people on Ryloth are Twi'leks, infiltrate the gun turret and take a few crew out. Two more speed riders are being hunted down as well, and they get taken out. And Hera begins to hear sounds of blaster bolts close by, and Rampart's asking where the reinforcements are. And this is when they find out that their comms are being jammed. And we see Senator Ta, the big guy, kind of start to panic because he's afraid he's going to get killed by the insurgents. And we see, this is where we see Eleni and Cham are hunting down a couple more speeder bike groups, and the two bikers split up. One of the other insurgents takes out the other one, and Cham gets to Hera and plants a detonator on the vehicle, so that they can break them out of the vehicle. And Senator Ta orders the troopers to stand their ground. And this is where we see Vice Admiral Rampart contradict and tell Hauser to surrender. And Senator Ta is horrified, but Rampart says that he is keeping them alive. And then we see General Syndulla and Eleni enter. Hera is delighted to see her parents, of course. And they hold the Imperials and the senator at gunpoint. And Hera talks to her mother about Ta not going to let this go, that they actually came out here and rescued her and caused a commotion. And the General Syndulla confronts Senator Ta, and Ta denounces them for attacking the convoy and labels them all traitors.
Crosshair shoots him.
And
Best scene in the episode. Kaplowy.
yeah, and that does come here in just a second because we get Cham pointing his weapon at him. And Senator Tal says that Rampart and Hauser must intervene. Rampart is unsympathetic, saying that Cham is the one who's holding the blaster. And we get Hauser kind of trying to reason with Cham. We see Hera in the background watching, and Rampart thanks Senator Tal for playing the part, and he nods his head, and that's when like you said, Crosshair shoots him.
Bam.
Shoots one, and then several of the reinforcements arrive, and Elaney, Hera's mother, tells Chopper to get Hera out of there. Hera and Chopper manage to escape, but Cham, Elaney, and a couple of the other insurgents are captured. Vice Admiral Rampart arrests Syndulla and his insurgents for attempting to assassinate Orn Free Ta, the senator, and they're handcuffed and taken off. Ta is wheeled on the stretcher. Apparently, Ta is not necessarily dead, but he's on a stretcher. Hauser talks to Rampart as Rampart orders him to assemble forces to find Hera. And we see several of the Imperial ships fly away, and Hera watches sadly with Chopper in their speeder as they're escaping away, and that's when we see the credits roll after that. What do you think about that?
Come on down. Come on down.
So my question of the week for that episode is, who is Hera going to call to help out? She's kind of on her own now, right? She's going to call Ghostbusters. She's on her own now, right? Because her mom and dad and Gobi and all those guys have all been captured now, and they're not going to stop because of Senator Tal, right? So who is she going to call?
She's going to call the Bad Batch and her new friend.
You think so? Is that what episode 12 is?
I know so.
You know so? You know so? So let's see. What's the...
I know a lot about Omega.
You do, huh?
Yeah.
A lot, huh? So our next two episodes are Rescue on Ryloth and Infested. That's episode 12 and 13.
Yeah.
Rescue on Ryloth. Obviously, that's going to rescue Hera, hopefully, and others. And then Infestation is related to it, I think, as well. I think they basically get the Imperials off there.
They do some damage.
Yeah, let me see here. Yeah, anyway, those are two interesting episodes, and we're getting, again, closer and closer to the end of the season. There's only 16 episodes, and we're going to be reviewing.
I finished it today.
You did, huh?
Yeah.
So we'll be doing 12 and 13 next weekend. Yeah. So my question for you is next week we have those two episodes, 12 and 13, right?
Mm-hmm.
But after that, there's 3 episodes left. And so that means normally we review 2 episodes. Do you want to, since
Well, the last 2
Return to
like
Camino
together.
and the last
The
2 are
last
together.
2
So you
are
want to,
together.
maybe try to
We
do
do
all
one.
3 of them, or do you want to do one like you just said?
Do one and then do a finale thing.
Yeah, we can do that. And, those 2 might take some more time also because that wraps up the season. So there might be a lot to talk about because there's a lot that happens in those last 2 episodes. Yeah. So
Somebody's left on Camino.
somebody's left.
Somebody's left.
All right. Anything else you have for the episode? Want to talk about for it?
It seems the young ones in all these shows are a bit stronger than the adults.
Sometimes, yeah, it seems like that. I mean, we know Hera is pretty strong anyway when she becomes an adult too, but
strong-willed. Let's put it that way. Strong-willed.
Yeah, and I wonder if it's part of it is the adults have been, manipulated and have had to deal with the war so much that they're kind of worn out, and the younger kids still have the fight in them.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I am excited though that we had 3 news articles. That's a lot of news because it's been pretty dry with the news lately.
Yeah.
And it looks like there's a lot more stuff coming out too. And I wanted to say briefly. Go ahead.
I heard that some way somehow that Irish fighter from UFC wants to be in the episode of Obi-Wan.
Really?
Yeah. Conor McGregor. That'd be too many McGregors in the freaking thing.
Yeah, that would be interesting, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he could be, someone who
he could be a Sith.
Could be. He could be someone who puts up a fight against, one of the Inquisitors or something too.
Yeah. Man,
that'd be a good fight scene.
That Grand Inquisitor. Woo! How's he do that lightsaber like that? That's freaking cool.
Yeah. It's the handle. It's got it so you can spin it.
But the young ones, going back to this, the young ones are they're the future, so they got to buck up and but there's still secrets about Omega, but
Yeah, there's a lot of secrets, I think. I mean, we learned some in the upcoming episodes, but there's still a lot that's unknown, and that's why I'm looking forward to season 2. There's a lot more to be explored there.
Well,
so I wanted to also put a warning out to people that they might have seen something about the Bad Batch on July 26th, and that's not necessarily true. That's probably an April Fool's joke. So, just be wary.
Sources did that. Where'd that come from?
Somebody produced it. Some person just made it up. Basically, is what it looks like to me. And the thing that clues me off is at the end of the clip, they play Darth Vader's music, which has nothing to do with the Bad Batch.
No.
So
that won't be there yet.
Yeah. I mean, Anakin Skywalker's around, but and he might be turning into Darth Vader at the time, but I don't think he's going to be in the Bad Batch at all. At least in my opinion. We could see him, I guess. Maybe the Bad Batch tumbles with somebody with the Empire somehow, and we see him, but I don't think so. But like I said, also I've seen a lot of things, and a lot of people have also said that this is that was a cruel joke that people have played on others. But
yeah, Does he even have a? Did he even have a Disney symbol on there?
It did. At the end of it, it had all the logos there, but it was it had Pixar and everything on there, which is not what they normally do either. They usually have Disney Plus or
Disney Plus.
or Lucas Limited, but Lucas wasn't even wasn't even there. So
He better hope they don't find him.
And the thing that made it so believable though is that's actually around the time that it might start. It might be close to that time. Because if we believe some of the other rumors that maybe the Bad Batch plays after Obi-Wan, and then we get Andor, and then we get all the other shows until we get to the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. I heard they're working on another Star Wars Legos show. Let me run the outro thing here. Get this. Thank you for listening to the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast. Please visit our website where you can play current and past episodes. That's https://RABR KyleJohansson.us. That's KyleJohansson.us. On the left-hand side is a navigation menu. You can use this to learn how to load the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast on your Android or Apple phone and tablet. And we have direct links to our podcast on Apple and Google Podcasts. Please participate by connecting to our social media, answering questions of the week, or submitting feedback directly from the site. Again, all of these are available at the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room website at RABR.KyleJohansson.us. This podcast in no way is approved, sponsored, or owned by Lucasfilms Ltd., Disney, Disney Plus, or any of its subsidiaries. All opinions are solely owned by Kyle and or Scott, and in no way express the views or opinions of their past or present employers. Views and opinions are not supported or restricted by Lucasfilms Ltd., Disney Plus, or any of its subsidiaries. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or other use of this podcast and its affiliate sites without consent of Super Duper Podcast Network and its host is prohibited. Yeah. I am Kyle Johansson, and this is Andrew Scott Sutton. Say goodbye now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.